So today we'll discuss. The other day we had seen how the national government or the central government works or allocates funds to the various disasters. But that those funds are okay, but they are at the macro level. That they are at the level of the, you can say, entire country. But how these funds they should reach the, you can say, the affected people. So for that purpose, the lower levels of, you can say, the lower levels of organizations which are there, like the uh, chief ministers relief or chief ministers relief funds are there. Plus there are various governmental organizations which distribute these funds to the affected people, as well as there are some non-governmental organizations, NGOs also are there, which are registered with the government, and they work towards the proper, you can say, distribution of the fund, or the fund to reach the proper hands, you know. Should not be that the funds are there, the government has allocated the fund, but they do not reach the needy people. So it happens, but to, you can say, offset such things, what is done is proper organizations are, you can say, built, and they are made competent enough, and then we'll see various course values and all what they should have for their working. So just we'll go through this small presentation of chief minister. Basically the relief funds which are there, we'll focus today more on the chief minister's relief fund and the NGOs, various NGOs which are working. We'll focus on that, and then we'll have a quiz. So basically, as you know, there is a 25 to 75 ratio between the state state funds and the, you can say, central funds and the state funds, that is there. So what we'll discuss today will only pertaining to Maharashtra state, how the funds are, you can say, what funds are there for for particularly Maharashtra state, and how they are, in which for particular disasters they are used. We'll just through see this. uh, this is a website, this website is there for the chief minister's relief fund. Of course it is maintained, it is an up to date website. You can go through it and you can read it further. I'll just show some important things which are there. So again, it has given, this website has links towards important, you can say, important links towards various other key organizations. Like it has a link to Prime Minister Relief Fund, Rajiv Gandhi Jivan Dayi Arogya Yojana, government of, it has link to government of India and government of Maharashtra. Then about, we'll just discuss what the fund is and what it caters to. The Chief Minister's Relief Fund is a trust registered under Bombay Public Trust Acts. So look, this previously what was there? Na? I don't know how many of you know, but Maharashtra state was created. Maharashtra state was created in 1961 or 1960. So before that, the entire state of Mumbai and Gujarat was known. Sorry, Maharashtra and Gujarat was known as Bombay Presidency. So under this act, it was prepared, Bombay Public Trust Acts, because although it is for the entire state, but it is created under this public trust act because, as I said, Maharashtra was born out or created in 1960. So it is managed. This trust is the, it is registered under Bombay Public Trust Act. It is managed by the state of Maharashtra under the chairmanship of Honorable Chief Minister. Of course, like the Prime Minister is also the ex officio chair, ex officio ex officio chairman of the trust, of the relief fund. Why? Because of his holding position of the chief minister, and he exercises overall supervision and control. So it has given various resolutions are there. We'll not go into detail of the resolutions, but just the key important points which are given here. So they have stated some objects. So you just clearly look the objects to assist the affected persons in natural calamities in the state as well as in the rest of the country. So it is not only restricting to the state. So even it is the chief minister's relief fund for Maharashtra, it doesn't mean that it will be utilized only in Maharashtra. We'll see some examples. Some examples also they have cited. So extend financial or any other help to the heirs of person who have died in communal rights and those people who have suffered injury. So of course in communal rights and all also these funds are utilized. So extend financial or any help to the heirs of person who have died or injured in terrorist attack. Also the funds are there. So patients suffering from diseases also and various treatments require also, if proper proposal is made, proper proposal is made, also they help. Of course they cannot not help each and everything, because so many people will write proposals and all, no? But if the chief minister finds that okay, this person really requires some help, so the funds are allocated to the person. So again, the people who died in accidents, their financial support is there, but it does not. Just one important thing is here, it does not include, matlab, not necessarily the fund will be given to the accidents which are dealt to motor railway, because what, the various ministries are there, na? For railway, if any railway accident is there, you must have heard, na, in the news, that the railway has announced so much and so ex gratia amount, or so much and so compensation for the injured. Fine, because the ministry is already there. Of course, the chief minister can also, it is at his disposal. He may or he may not help, but it is not binding for the funds to be released from the chief minister's relief fund for motor accidents or plane accidents or railway accidents or ship accidents also. So it also extends support to various organizations, various institutions in need of financial help. Of course, for various businesses, for supporting mediums and small scale industries, medium small scale enterprises, also the various funds are given. So to extend financial any help for organizing educational, social and cultural seminars and gathering, they did this up to 2010, but now they are stopped because there is a court case which is going on in High Court, Bombay High Court. So after 2010 they are not giving from this fund, but from other funds they are giving. uh, to extend financial help or any other help for partly for construction of building and of educational and medical services. So also they are helping in this. So you just see the various institutional aids which they are given. So of course we'll see the disbursement which they have made in the last. So they have dispersed for natural floods. You can see so many natural floods are there. No, it's not pertaining only in the natural disaster. It is not pertaining only in the you can say state of Maharashtra. You can see it helped in Ladakh. It helped in Jammu and Kashmir, in South Indian tsunami, Gujarat and Orissa storm. You can see how they help. Of course, for Maharashtra state also there are some funds. We'll discuss about those funds. Likewise, of course, for bomb blasts and other type of we can say accidents and all, ethnic rights and all, also the various these are given. So of course, based on the proper documentation, na, proper FIR, postmortem report, death certificate. In case of accidental death of family maker, also they provide help. In case of any material financial loss, also if the loss is 25,000, they give help of 3,000 and so on. So even during the Mumbai floods and all, na, the people, the places where flood were there, the government from this fund also they provided a lot of relief. So again, for medical relief also, if the cost of treatment is 20, so 20,000, so 10,000 is given. So likewise, the various slabs are there. So of course, it requires proper documentation. Of course, there is one more central stream, Rajiv Gandhi Jeevan Dayi Yojana, which which also they can which also helps in the can say medical covering the medical treatment. So there are some resolutions. Will not go into detail of the resolutions. You can read for yourself. You can see they update this list, top donors and all. Na, they generally send the receipts also, but for receipt purpose also you can email them. You can see the top donors and all they have listed on their website. So for this main fund, you can see the to the tune of 2 crore 54 lakhs funds are given for again the drought which was there in 2005. Again you can see na, the pharmaceutical and these companies, na, you can see their contribution was permanent. So you can see the tune of almost many crores rupees of this was given. So this fund is newly introduced. You can see na, how people have contributed to the tune of say 154 crores. So again various organizations are giving various help. Of course, this is just a list. Many people are also have, but these are the top donors. Any other people you can even contribute a small amount. There is no restriction to the amount, as we had discussed yesterday. Like for the PM Cares Fund, these funds can also be utilized. So again, they have a means of contacting them. You can provide your feedback, and of course, they maintain various reports. You can see hospital-wise reports, disease-wise reports, donation reports, and I'll just show you one sort of report so you will be able to comprehend it. Monthly, they maintain the reports. I can see for this month of October, total applications received 128. Current month, which is there for the last 7 or 8 days, na 8 9 days. So they have received. So they go on updating this. So total application sanctioned from 120 to sanction this much. Usme se from that kidney diseases, heart diseases, infection, so many things are there. So they provide relief. You can see, uh, although the amount is very small as compared to the donations which are received, but for one family, if this much amount is so a person is there, na, three people, they are supported to the tune of 1 lakh. So approximately 35,000 if they give to one patient, it is much more for him in terms of their need. So very good work they are doing. Only thing is that you should approach them properly. Likewise, they have other reports also. They maintain the donation record. They maintain the financial aid for medical purposes, financial aid for natural calamities and natural deaths, uh, empanel hospitals which are enlisted in the under their schemes and all. And now also you can have the RTI and all, no, right to information, because it's the right of citizens. You can write to them and they will ensure. So again, you can find some frequently asked questions and just go through it. This website is open to all. You can just go and you can read what are the various what are the various accounts or means through which you can help the government. So we can just go through it. Of course, it will have a plan because it has to have legal backing. Like the PM Cares Fund, this also is exempted from income tax. Means there is an income tax. They do not have, although it is a registered trust, but they do not have to pay income tax. Likewise, some NGOs also are there. They collect funds, but they are exempted from tax. Right. So, likewise, the Prime Minister's Natural Relief Fund also we had seen yesterday. Okay. So the State Disaster Response Fund, so generally in this fund, the central government contributes 75%, state government contributes 25%. You see a difference. This is a disaster response fund. The website which we saw was the Chief Minister Relief Fund. So there is a difference. Though these are both different funds. Fine. So in this state disaster response fund, for every state, it has been mandated by the act that the state disaster, like in lines with the national disaster response fund, the state disaster response fund should be there. So the union government will contribute 75%, the state government will contribute 25%. For special category states like the North Indian states and the you can say this na the union territories and all, na, the special category. So there are some special category states. Likewise, you may heard in the news like people, the governments, na, for the political mileage, they were trying to make Bihar as a special category state. There was a you can say based on certain historical trends they were trying to make it. But again, for special category states, certain provisions, certain you can say requirements should be there. So if they fulfill the requirements, it will be again counted as special category state. So after this entire cycle is complete, after GST implementation, because what, for special category states there are many benefits from the central government. Like say 90% contribution will be the central government and only 10% will be from the state government, and other benefits also. So every state will want that the union help or central help is more, whereas their own personal or yes, their own, because then it will be less pressurized to raise the funds. And especially in a big state like Maharashtra, or say bigger states like Uttar Pradesh and all, it becomes quite a tedious task to raise the funds. So after complete implementation of GST, it is thought that every state will have 90 to 10 shares, because GST amount will be collected in huge amount from by the central government. So again, in the same lens, the National Disaster Response Fund is there. We have discussed about this, which ministries maintain and what is the help. For State Disaster Response Fund, you see how it is to be utilized. So state-specific disasters up to 10% is to be utilized for management of disasters. Like in Maharashtra state, if you see, prominent disasters are floods which are there in Mumbai, Nasik primarily, and other urban centers. Then we have droughts, which is there in say Gadchiroli and the central India, or rather the eastern Maharashtra, the area beyond you can say Nagpur or the Vidarbh region rather. Then you have other type of disasters like we have landslides and all in Mumbai. Fine. So for state specific disasters, 10% reservation is there. From that 25%. procurement of essential search, rescue and operation, like for earthquakes and all. He had this JCBs and all other materials for excavation and for removing the for rescuing the you can say alive people, the people who are trapped and alive. And first capacity building, also some amount is reserved so that the community is trained, the capacities are built, and so that in the event of any hazard, it doesn't become a disaster. So again, there are various disasters which are approved. There are the list can they can modify add. So these figures which we'll see in henceforth, no, they are just tentative figures pertaining say to some record of say 2 or 3 years back. Of course, that figures not be extended because look, time there is one term which is known as time value of money. 1 rupee today may mean more than 1 rupee tomorrow. बात समझ रहे हो? है ना? If you have 1 rupees today, the purchasing power of say 1 rupee today is more than the purchasing power of 1 rupee tomorrow, especially in the developing countries. In developed countries like US and all, that doesn't change much. But if you say if you have 100 rupees and what things you could purchase today, 5 years hence you will not be able to purchase that many things in those 100 rupees. So again, the based on time value of money, they will go on updating. So these figures may not be, not all figures may be relevant today, because these figures are of primarily of 2016, but still you can have some clues. You can have the magnitude of, the amount which is to be given in sort of certain disasters. So again, the type of disaster assistance are there: food assistant, emergent assistant, ad hoc food assistant based on ration cards and all, like different cards are there. So what assistance are given? Again, this is an indicative list. I'm again stressing on the fact, and of course you need not memorize or mug up these things. You just need to be attentive, and because again, look, in the exam, the question, you have to understand what sort of question is asked, and based on that question you have to answer. So okay, if you be very, you can say, if you try to answer it in very general, you may end up in, you may use up a lot of time. So based on the time constraint, because this is a theoretical subject, and of course you need to write point wise for you should stress on certain points which are of more importance. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, audible, clear.
Okay, fine. If any time my just net goes, you just let me know, because there is a network problem at my place today. Fine. Okay. So emergent assistance. So families in who will get the families in dire needs. Like if there is a flood, no? Flood is there. There is no means of any food available in, or the marketing and all this is not possible. And people have, because of the floods, they may have lost their supplies of food also. है ना? The water may have inundated their areas, and what may happen, they may, whatever food they have, that may have been spoiled due to the water being coming into their into their households, you know? So they require food, and they require food on urgent basis. So what materials can be given? Rice, meat, good, salt, है ना? Sugar, kerosene, matchboxes, including cooked food and clothing also should be given in such cases. Like floods are there, even earthquakes and all. uh, of course, powers and all, there should be there, power supply, because the electricity may have gone, and sometimes it is for days, na? Especially the people, some students, some of our students also, na? Maybe from your class also, they may have suffered power outage during this cyclone which was there. And which cyclone was there in May, in June, in
Nisarg.
Maharashtra? Nisarg cyclone was there, fine. So in that cyclone, you may have felt some power outage. You may have observed, you may have experienced. So how to provide and how to resolve this? So again, this should be taken. Quick decisions should be taken. So kitna dena hai, that is also important, because the resources are limited, and you cannot just give one chunk to entire family, na? So kitna dena hai, so that is also strategically beforehand only it is established. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि हमने सब बांट दिए, बाद में लोग हमारे पास आ रहे हैं. ऐसा भी होता है कि पूरा राशन बांट दिया, बाद में लोग आते हैं कि हमको कुछ मिला नहीं. So that should be taken care of. So proper list, proper checklist should be made. 1 kg per adult per day, इसके हिसाब से देना है ना? दाल तो जनरली लिमिट 60 है, ये आज के दौर में इसमें इट में इंक्रीज टू 75 और 80 और 100. बात समझ रहे हो? सो दिस इज जस्ट एन इंडिकेटर लिस्ट. सो फिगर्स के लिए इतना फिगर्स पे स्ट्रेस मत करो, जस्ट यू क्वांटिटी लेकिन मोर और लेस सेम रहेगी, राइट। चाइल्ड है तो उसके लिए 500 ग्राम पर डे, सुबह शाम रात का खाना मिला के प्लस दाल। सो दिस ऑल थिंग्स आर देयर। एडॉक असिस्टेंस पहला तो क्या है, इमरजेंट असिस्टेंस यानी जल्द से जल्द देना। एडॉक यानी ऑन अ कंटिन्यू बेसिस, मतलब एक एक मंथ में देना, एक हफ्ते के लिए असिस्ट करना, फिर यू हैव टू डिसाइड वेदर यू हैव टू कंटिन्यू द असिस्टेंस और नॉट। सो दैट असिस्टेंस आल्सो कैन बी देयर। So food assistant on the card, ration card, again you all know that different type of cards are there. So different type of assistance can be given. So again, main privilege is given to mentally challenged persons, crippled invalid persons, blind person, advanced age, बूढ़े लोगों को physical infirmity है ना, इन लोगों को ज़्यादा इन लोगों को ज़्यादा यू कैन से प्रेफरेंस दिया जाता है, ज़्यादा प्रेफरेंस दिया जाता है। वाई? बिकॉज दे आर you can say more prone, or they are more vulnerable, as we can say in disaster management terms. So generally you can say the sarpanch or the chairperson of urban local bodies or panchayat organization, municipal corporations, they generally they have to sanction within 30 days, 10 days. Then again the district officer has to sanction within 30 days. So likewise the collector and all, they have to sanction, because the sanctioning is always, because this is a, you can say, assistance which has to be given in cards, and on cards means their ration and all. So proper decision, proper, because the relief should be reached the proper persons. Sometimes what happens, some people in terms of relief, what they do, they just go on stocking their supplies. So that is also not correct. Ethically it is wrong, but also the control should be there with the all these people which are involved in the last mile distribution. So ex gratia, of course, in case of emergent hazards like floods or earthquakes and all. So within 24 hours, the collector or the person in charge, the urban local body, should inform, so that the uh, proper relief is made. सो अवेलेबल फंड के 7 दिन के अंदर होना चाहिए, बिकॉज दैट इट इज सेड है ना, एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पीरियड होता है, बिकॉज है ना, देर इज वन रूल। आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव हर्ड अबाउट दिस 3S रूल्स, है ना। 3S मींस व्हाट? A person can survive 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food, है ना। दिस इज वन गोल्डन 3S रूल। सो 3 दिन तक उसको पानी नहीं है, फिर भी वो सर्वाइव कर सकता है। दिस मैक्सिमम टाइम विच पर्सन कैन सर्वाइव विदाउट वाटर, एंड 3 weeks without food also he can survive. But generally this is for the population which is general population, normal population, but the differently abled or the vulnerable group, they need to, है ना। तो ये सारी चीज़ें उनको you have to provide। इश्यूज क्या क्या आ सकते हैं कि एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट में एक्स ग्रेशिया इन केस रेजिडेंट ऑफ वन डिस्ट्रिक्ट डाइज इन अदर डिस्ट्रिक्ट, है ना। पर्सन फ्रॉम से रत्नागिरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट और से औरंगाबाद डिस्ट्रिक्ट और सम अदर डिस्ट्रिक्ट इज वर्किंग इन मुंबई एंड ही डाइज। सो हाउ, if in that calamity, how will they provide the assistance and all that needs to be decided. So ex gratia due to collapse of wall, falling from trees, है ना, इसमें कैसे देना है, कितना देना है। समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपेंड, स्पेशली दिस इज ऑब्जर्व्ड इन मुंबई ना, body is not recovered, है ना, in case of this body being drained away. So whether that person has been misplaced, is missing, or whether he has died, that can be not be certain. And again, this is approximate estimate. The word is important. Approximate, it's not a fixed value. कितना देना है, अगेन इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द कलेक्टर एंड द पर्सन हु आर इन चार्ज, है ना। ये सारी जो लिस्ट है, बेस्ड ऑन दैट द पर्सन, if loss of limb of eyes or eyes is there, so 2 लाख ex gratia or the amount should be given. Likewise हाथ पैर जाते हैं, again depending on different injuries and all, different amounts will be given. House building assistance, है ना, generally this is in rural context. In Mumbai now, if you say, people will laugh at you, है ना। 1 लाख रुपया अगर पूरा घर डैमेज हो गया, आप अगर दे रहे हो, तो इट डजंट सर्व द पर्पस, राइट। बट इन रूरल एरियाज एंड ऑल ना, 1 लाख रुपीज इफ यू गिव, they can build a very good home of say 2 rooms or so. So again these all things are there. Again these figures are again tentative figures. I am again stressing, it's not hard and fixed rule. तो again partially damaged house है तो इतना इतना पैसा दिया जाता है। कैटल हाउस, कैटल शेड्स वगैरह अगर डैमेज होते हैं, हर्ट्स डैमेज होते हैं, तो उस हिसाब से कम दिया जाता है पैसा। So house damage assessment is done by revenue inspector or revenue supervisor. Photographic evidence and all, because evidence is important. Just based on we can say somebody saying that there is a damage in the house, it will not be evidence. So evidence always na, even as an engineer, you should be always, you should have an habit of making the documentation, है ना. कोई भी आप कहीं भी जा रहे, even in your work, after you join your professional organizations and all, should always have private. कोई चीज you just based on, you can say, arbitrary on, you just do not do it. You just have evidence. You should always, even if you are doing something, na, you keep some record, you keep some photographs, you always have some signed documents and all, na. So this evidence is very important in case of anything, any so professional, you can say, for any professional matter, this evidence is important. Likewise, the house damage photographic evidence, not only by somebody saying that we have damage, so incurred so and so damage, is not sufficient. The photograph, and today the photography and all is very easy based on mobile. We can certain apps are in your mobile only. You can install certain apps and you can just upload the photo. So it has become very easy nowadays. Required check, again, people may again fool you. They may upload wrong images, so the check is important. Tehsildar, other officers should be proper exercising proper check. Approval list by collector, disbursement by designated officers. Like in utensils and all, these are very true in case of rural households. है ना, क्लोथिंग एंड ऑल के लिए भी दिया जाता है. सो क्रॉप डैमेज असेसमेंट इज ऑल्सो देयर. सो जनरली 2 हेक्टेयर के मैक्सिमम 2 हेक्टेयर एक पर्सन के लिए नाम की 2 हेक्टेयर की जमीन. यू कैन इमेजिन 2 हेक्टेयर हाउ मच इट इज. 2 हेक्टेयर इमेजिन कर सकते हो. What is one
Yes, sir.
acre? I can imagine. How much is 2 hectares? One hectare is how many square meters? In irrigation we have studied, na? 1 hectare is how many square meters?
10 raised to 4.
वेरी नाइस. ठीक है, 10,000 स्क्वायर मीटर होता है 1 हेक्टर. फाइन. सो इतना स्क्वायर मीटर इन एकर्स में देखो तो जनरली 1 हेक्टर इज 2.5 एकड़. जनरली मोर, इट इज नॉट अ फिक्स्ड, यू कैन से वैल्यू, बिकॉज एकर्स में थोड़ा सा इट इज अ of course there is a different unit, and hectares is a different unit. So in SI units generally 2 hectares is there. So crop loss of 35% and above, एंड रिस्ट्रिक्टेड सोन एरिया. सो अगेन रेन फेड एरियाज, अगर ये बारिश का पानी मिल रहा है तो 7,500 इज देयर पर हेक्टर. इतना मतलब असिस्टेंस दिया जाता है. Likewise, the assistance is given. Again, these figures are subject to change based on the conditions. अगर मुंबई में अगर अभी बोलो तो it is not, will not be correct. So again, crop damage assessment and all, this is done by agricultural people and revenue inspector and all. So again, some of you may just give the MPSC and use EPSC, and you can join these very noble fields which are there, and these are very good fields actually. But what happens now? We engineers, we are more inclined towards, you can say, white collar jobs and all, no, the jobs which are there for, you can say, private institutions and the jobs, but these are also very good jobs. And of course there is good earnings also. It is not that हम just social service कर, ऐसा भी नहीं है. You can get very good salary also for this. Only thing, you should be very true to your profession, because of course there are very loopholes also, and people also make money through various unfair means. But we should be very ethical, morally and socially we should responsible, because what happens, हम हमारे ही लोगों का खून चूस रहे ऐसा हो जाता है फिर वो. बट वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड दिस. In any field you go, ethical and moral responsibility is most important. So crop assessment also, properly assessment should be done. Again, people nowadays, they may just inflate the rates and all for raising the unfair, you can say, funds. So again, determination of drought. Again, this manual is of 2006. Again, it may vary. अगर आप देखो recent droughts and all, because again the COVID has changed a lot of things, है ना, जो पहले perceive नहीं किया जाता था. So again, different, this is there. So based on this, these are very indicators. So GIS के base पे NDVI and all these things are there. Pre remote sensing के pre images लेते हैं, बाद में images लेते हैं based on the condition of the color of crops, ना, उसके based on that the chlorophyll content is determined. ये सारी चीजें हैं. It is not a matter of discussion here, but these are very good fields. Technologically you can do wonders in this. सो अगेन डिसिल्टिंग वगैरह है, जैसे सैंड, पानी आ गया, फ्लड हो गया, तो अगेन डिसिल्टिंग हो गया. या अगेन सी शोर के पास ज़मीन है, सी का वाटर आ गया इसके अंदर, तो अगेन उसके अंदर भी वेरियस असिस्टेंस आर देयर. सो लॉस ऑफ लैंड लैंडस्लाइड्स एंड ऑल दीज आर ऑल्सो वेरियस असिस्टेंस आर गिवन. So again, for animal resource sector also assistance are given, like milch animals are there, no? Milking animal like buffalo and cow, if it is lost in disaster, so 30,000 rupees are given as ex gratia. Sheep goat जाती है तो 3,000. This is just some amount. Again, this may vary, ना. अगर आप बोलो कि गोट तो महंगी आती है ना आज के रेट में, So again you can see this may vary. So again camel or this generally camel and all generally if this is there, so again the relief is given. Poultry के लिए भी relief है, and all these are things, these are measures, these are again indicator terms है ना. So also what is there, provision of cattle feed medicines, उनके लिए भी some provisions are there, so all these calculations are done. Assistance to fishermen is also given है ना. कभी कभी क्या होता है, boats and all due to cyclones and all they are devastated, so again their assistance and all is given. So assistance to handloom and handicraft artisans also is there. So ये सारी चीजें है. Only thing the proper proposal and proper the collector's responsibility and the पंचायत सरपंच and all ये जो सारे lower level के you can say the people who are directly connected to the affected people है ना, the persons who are directly connected to the affected people, इनका responsibility है तो proper figures दिया जाए, हिसाब से expenditure कर सकते हैं. So again expenditure on infrastructure roads है ना, irrigation, power supplies and all, school, primary health and centers and all, this all needs also be to be restored. So again ये एक लिस्ट है किसको ड्रिंकिंग वाटर सप्लाई के लिए कैसे असिस्टेंस देना, रोड्स के लिए कैसे करना, इरिगेशन स्कीम, हेल्थ केयर सेंटर्स, बिकॉज गाँव देहात में जनरली देर इज नो डॉक्टर और देर इज और इवन इफ देर आर डॉक्टर्स ना, पीपल में नॉट अफोर्ड इट बिकॉज उनका दिन का इनकम इतना नहीं होता जितना उनका इसमें चले जाए, डॉक्टर्स इसमें चले जाए. तो जनरली देर आर प्राइमरी हेल्थ केयर सेंटर्स run by the government. So again, if they are destroyed, where will people go? So that the developing of the PHCs and all is also important. So again, the assistance, again this is a list. Again I said don't focus too much on the money aspect because again this money may change from place to place and from time to time. सो अगेन ये पूरा साइकिल कंप्लीट करना है. आप ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते कि हाँ हमने रिलीफ दे दिया हमारा काम हो गया, ऐसा नहीं. सो अगेन रिपोर्ट्स एंड ऑल दिस शुड बी मेंटेन. ऑफ कोर्स सब फाइनेंस रिलीफ दे दिया तो कलेक्टर का काम खत्म होता है, ऐसा नहीं है. ही हैज टू टेक फॉलो वेदर दैट रिलीफ मटेरियल एंड ऑल इज प्रॉपर्ली यूटिलाइज्ड और नॉट, सम अदर नीड्स आर देयर और नॉट, दैट ऑल थिंग्स नीड्स टू बी प्रॉपर्ली केयर. और इसमें फिर एनजीओज का रोल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो विल सी टू प्रेजेंटेशंस ऑन एनजीओज टुडे. One is an international presentation and based on that an Indian presentation is there. So this is an international presentation based on an author which is from Australia. So what they are discussing, what he has discussed is with the working of non-governmental organizations. Of course there is one project, the Sphere project, which is there, which we'll discuss at length. Look, this is it is a minimum character. Minimum character means what, कितना minimum assistance देना चाहिए. That all some figures are there that we'll discuss. So they give trainings to various disaster management professionals. Disaster management is a very, you can say, noble field. If you want to make a career in it, you can make a very good career in it, as well as you can serve the humanity through the disaster management. You can say through your disaster management career. So what are non-government? There are, you may have heard various governmental organizations, NGOs, and likewise there are various NGOs, non-governmental organizations. In this particular COVID-19, you may have heard very NGOs which have become prominent, which have been started. है ना. Previously भी NGOs थे, लेकिन ये COVID में क्या हो गया, due to lockdown and all ना, many people lost their livelihood. Lockdown was essential. It could not have been avoided. Otherwise, what would happen? The spread of this COVID-19 would have been too fast. So, but अभी इन लोगों का क्या करना, जो लोग अपना livelihood है ना, उनका livelihood चले गया है, they have lost their jobs and all. So, for those the purpose, many NGOs came forward and they have supported many of these people. So, very good work is done in Mumbai and other parts of India also. But in Mumbai especially, many NGOs are there. Even our students ना, हमारे even civil के students हैं. 2017 में बैच आउट, 2016 पास आउट बैच का एक स्टूडेंट है, उसने भी अपना एक होप मिरर करके एनजीओ स्टार्ट किया है. That is going tremendous work in this Panvel and Belapur belt. So various NGOs have come up. So what their work is, so in the current a civic or public advocacy organization which generates, transfers or administers humanitarian and other aids, development relief. Generally NGOs are organized as non-profit organizations है ना. इनका मकसद पैसा कमाना नहीं होता है. their purpose is to collect funds from people and then use it for the service of the humanity. They can be local or international. So we'll in this presentation, the international NGOs are listed. Some international NGOs are listed, but many local NGOs are also there. Many may work independently or with government. With so इनका interaction भी जरूरी है. NGOs अगर अपना काम कर रहे हैं, गवर्नमेंट अलग से काम करे तो क्या होता है? There will be duplication of assistant, है ना. एक ही आदमी को अगर 10 NGOs भी सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं और गवर्नमेंट भी सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, तो उसको अगर 1 kg उसका नीड था चावल का, उसको 10 NGO से 10 kg मिलेगा, गवर्नमेंट से 5 kg मिल जाएगा. So he will have surplus fund, and the people who really need will be, their needs will not be met. So generally they do not include professional association, business and foundations. तो ये सारे NGOs इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे है. केयर है, MSF है, ऑक्सफैम है, रेड क्रॉस है, रेड क्रॉस है, रेड एफ है, सेव द चिल्ड्रन, सेंट जॉन एम्बुलेंस, वर्ल्ड विजन. ये सारे NGOs है. द लिस्ट इज एंडलेस. Just list some NGOs they have listed. So who are the other players? So national, the government में national government है, state governments है, local governments है, urban local bodies है, पंचायत राज institutions है, United Nations है, UNICEF है. Yes, donors are there. Hybrid organizations with their own different status, International Committee of Red Cross, ICRC. They are the other players in disaster management. So these are the various acronyms based on the various community, you can say various NGO types. So community based organizations होते हैं कुछ, है ना, जो बेस्ड ऑन सम कम्युनिटीज ही वर्क करते हैं, है ना. जैसे मुंबई में कुर्ला रीजन है, जैसे सपोज, तो कुर्ला के कोई एक स्मॉल कम्युनिटी पे ही वो लोग वर्क करेंगे. सिविल सोसाइटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, डोंगो है, डोनर ऑर्गेनाइज नॉन गवर्नमेंटल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, गोंगो है, गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइज है, इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. तो डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ NGOs आर देयर. Every NGO is different and is governed largely by their own individual charter. So NGO का ऐसा कुछ fixed hard and fast rule नहीं है कि ऐसा ही होना चाहिए. They have their own rules, they have their own operation procedures. So they vary greatly. Organizational structure is similar to businesses. Usually non-rigid hierarchy, significant flexibility. So hierarchy is not fixed. And they are working voluntarily. Core values, it should be neutral. Neutral होना चाहिए. Partiality नहीं करना चाहिए, है ना. Neutral मतलब what? दे शुड नॉट सपोर्ट कि हाँ ये पर्टिकुलर पॉलिटिकल पार्टिकल के लिए ये लोग इधर रहते तो आई विल सपोर्ट देम. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. रिलीजन के लोग इधर रहते विल सपोर्ट दिस, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. NGO शुड बी न्यूट्रल टू ऑल कास्ट एंड क्रीड. इम्पार्शियलिटी, दे शुड बेस्ड ऑन एनी पर्सन, बेस्ड ऑन हिज नेशनलिटी, बेस्ड ऑन हिज क्रीड, है ना. कोई फॉरेनर भी अगर आके रह रहा है तो वी कैन नॉट से कि हाँ अगर डिजास्टर इधर हुआ तो ही विल बी सपोर्टेड बाय सम फॉरेनर. नहीं, वी एज एन NGO शुड सपोर्ट हिम. इट इज बेस्ड ऑन नीड अलोन. सिर्फ ज़रूरत के हिसाब से असिस्टेंट देना चाहिए, ना कि मतलब के और ना कि अपने पर्सनल प्रेफरेंस के हिसाब से. इंडिपेंडेंस, दे शुड नॉट एक्ट एज एन इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स ऑफ गवर्नमेंट फॉरेन पॉलिसी. तो गवर्नमेंट के, है ना, एज अ प्रचार के तौर पे उनको नहीं वर्क करना चाहिए. दे शुड बी वर्किंग ऑन देयर ओन, है ना, ओन विजडम एंड ओन वैल्यूज. सो विलिंगनेस टू वर्क विद अदर एजेंसी, ऐसा नहीं हो चाहिए कि हम हमारा काम करें, हम कॉर्पोरेट नहीं करेंगे, ऐसा नहीं. दे शुड वर्क विद NGO, अदर NGOs एज वेल एज गवर्नमेंटल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. सो दे ऑपरेशनल वर्सेस एडवोकेसी, ग्रास रूट्स, लास्ट माइल डिलीवरी करते, लास्ट लोगों को ज़रूरत लोगों तक पहुंचाते हैं. तो जहाँ जहाँ गवर्नमेंट नहीं पहुंच सकती वहाँ उनका पहुंचना बहुत ज़रूरी है. तो फुल इंटीग्रेशन लोकल पॉपुलेशन, गुड पोजिशनिंग फॉर डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट, दे आर वेल, है ना. रोटरी क्लब्स एंड ऑल ये सारे होते, दीज आर ऑल NGO टाइप्स. यूजुअली हैव एक्सीलेंट एडवोकेसी और लॉबिंग कैपेसिटी, है ना, लोगों को, बिकॉज दे अंडरस्टैंड द लोकल लैंग्वेज एंड ऑल, ना. दे कैन फिल गैप, स्पेशलाइज स्किल कैपेसिटी, यूजुअली मोबाइल क्विकली, जल्दी जल्दी फंड इकट्ठा कर सकते हैं. इमीडिएट रेजिस्टेंस, दे आर वेरी लिक्विड, दे कैन गिव वेरी गुड क्विक फंड्स. डुप्लीकेट सर्विस, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, एक NGO है, उनको मालूम पड़ा डिजास्टर हो गया तो 10 NGO आके खड़े हो गए, 10 ने जो भी उनके पास वो दे दिए. तो बाद में क्या होता है, तो दे कैन डुप्लीकेट सर्विसेज. तो इसमें वॉर्स, टर्फ वॉर्स मतलब क्या, रिलीफ पहुंचाने के लिए दे में बी फाइटिंग बिटवीन डिफरेंट NGO. फाइटिंग इन द सेंस दे कैन से कि नहीं मैं पहुंचाऊंगा ये, और दे कैन बी अगेन इफ देयर इज लिमिटेड मटेरियल, so people the affected community themselves may have some issues, may step outside their areas of specialty. जैसे इमरजेंसी मेडिकल सर्विस उनका काम नहीं है, फॉर दैट डॉक्टर शुड बी देयर, बट आउट ऑफ देयर नीड्स, है ना, लोगों की जरूरत को देख के मे बी दे कैन स्पेशल स्टेप आउटसाइड दिस स्पेशलिटी एंड मे बी दे कैन डू मोर डैमेज देन गुड, मोर हार्म देन गुड. फाइन, सो दैट शुड बी देयर. सो जिसका जो स्पेशलाइजेशन इन इमरजेंसी मेडिकल सर्विस, दैट शुड बी टेकन केयर ऑफ. Often overextend capacities may not be good at sustainability, because देखो इनका काम है जो फंड आता है उनको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना है. so they may not be sustainable and they may be short of funds sometimes. तो इन कितना कंट्रीब्यूट करना, इट इज ऑफन dictated by context. What is the situation, who is there, what is their capacity, are there tensions between players, how well are they recognized, what frameworks है ना, कितना रेजिलियंट है, what are the plans in place, roles clarified है कि नहीं, तो ये सारे context है. So funding कौन करता है उनको, private relations you can contribute, और international organization UN can contribute है ना. तो अभी WHO and all also contributes in COVID funds and COVID medicines and all. The organization which are working towards developing this also, the WHO contribute, national governments also help, and listed governments also help. Perceptions are important, so इनका media में इनका जो perception है, public relationships and the media is also important, because media is also, you can say, the fourth pillar na, of, you can say, democracy. So media's role is important because media reaches people है ना. So NGOs के बारे में, so advertising, proper advertising and all is also important. So what happens, many times funds are there, relief material is there, but does not reach the affected people. Donors also rely on NGOs because of their access to the donors जो है तो वो directly मदद नहीं करते, वो NGOs पे rely करते because of their access ना, the local population. So आप उनकी just fund में डाल दो, they will वो पहुंचा देंगे. So NGOs as implementing partners of donors organizations are the legs on which disaster response stands. So बहुत ज़रूरी होता है इनका role. How do we know the NGOs are doing the right thing? Of course, कैसे मालूम पड़ेगा NGOs, because they उनका audit and all होना चाहिए. Who monitors NGOs? Again, this is a matter of concern. So little external monitoring, self-regulation. NGO starts standards, various standards are there. Red Cross code of conduct है, interaction PBO standards है, and sphere minimum standards. So ये sphere का एक booklet है around 500 pages, and just share some important charters which are there, important standards which are there, which are again I'll share this booklet also with you. But जो जो important चीज़ें हैं कि कितना assistance, कितना basic essential should be delivered, that is discussed. So again इसका एक booklet है, handbook है, collaboration है, commitment and all these things are there. We'll discuss this in the next week. NGO culture, it should be independent, decentralized होना चाहिए, because है ना, authority should be there for the local people to take decisions. On the job training देना चाहिए. Often develop a range of freedom, MSF, Red Cross, hopefully long term perspective and all. So again ये NGOs coordinate with various embassies है ना. Zone of collaboration, again you can see host countries based on religion, based on military because NDRF and SDRF they come and they help. So based on international organization, businesses and all, government, host countries and NGOs will help, and then they will be collaborated together for training. So military is also important. Military also they should support the NGOs. uh, what have to be chosen, what, how can they, मतलब कैसे वो इफेक्टिव होगा, how effective they are है ना, what they have chosen to do, क्या क्या वो क्या काम कर रहे हैं, whether their work is only supplying foods to affected people or whether they are supplying some medical kits, this is also important है ना. जैसे अभी कुछ NGOs क्या कर रहे हैं कोविड में, they had done good work ना, काढ़ा वगैरह सप्लाई करते थे, not only food but also after that immunity booster काढ़ा and that arsenic album and all these medicines were also delivered by NGOs. So this work was done. So what is their mandate? Do they add value? Just वो नाम के NGO है, काम के NGO है, that also is defined. What will the other players allow them to do? गवर्नमेंट को क्या क्या अलाउ करती है, या दूसरे एनजीओ को क्या क्या अलाउ करते हैं, या स्टेट है ना, लोकल बॉडीज, पंचायत, सरपंच वगैरह उनको क्या क्या अलाउ करती है, ये सारी चीज़ें हैं. बेस्ड ऑन दैट द रोल्स आर डिफाइंड. सो एंड दे शुड ऐड वैल्यू. So again, NGOs, as you see, they are non-profit organizations. This is again in India how they work. Small presentation of 5 minutes. I'll just share. So their NGOs focused on emergency food relief, temporary shelter, emergency medical aid, debris removal, habitat restoration, trauma counseling भी करते हैं, raising families also है ना. इससे भी people have, many people in earthquakes and all ना, many children will lose their parents. So उनके लिए क्या, उन बच्चों के लिए कैसे सपोर्ट करना. So they have various schemes है ना. Even orphanages and all are there. Even Anjuman Islam has one orphanage na. It is there in Andheri. So again it various donors and all, they support that NGO and all, and the children and all are raised there. So it is relief centric, जैसे हम बात कर रहे हैं ना, it is shifting from relief centric approach to what, a multidisciplinary approach, so that precautions are taken. So health education, food security, sanitation and all these are taken care of. Second, they have various task forces, disaster management plans and all, mock drills and all, ये सारी चीज़ें करते हैं. So again, NGOs have started to collaborate with corporate entities like public-private partnerships होते हैं, PPP होता है. अपने सिविल स्टूडेंट्स में have learned this PPP concept in the QSA में. पढ़े हो, पढ़ा है सर ने? हेलो, PPP पता है? PPP सुने हो? पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, audible.
PPP सुने हो? पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप QSA में पढ़ोगे आप शायद. फाइन. इट इज़ अ कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ, लाइक बड़े जो प्रोजेक्ट्स आते हैं ना उसमें पीपीपी होता है. जैसे एंटायरली द गवर्नमेंट कैन नॉट फंड एवरीथिंग ना, सो इट डज व्हाट, इट डज अ पीपीपी, यानी इट कीप्स अ 51% स्टेक विद इटसेल्फ, एंड बाकी का जो 49% इट विल रेज फ्रॉम डिफरेंट एंटिटीज. लाइकवाइज द एनजीओज आल्सो डू देयर वेरियस पीपीपीज, बिकॉज उनके पास खुद का पैसा नहीं होता, तो वो दे फॉर्म सम कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंड दे कलेक्ट मनी फ्रॉम डिफरेंट गवर्नमेंटल एंड अदर नॉन प्रॉफिट कंपनीज. सो ये सारी चीज़ें हैं, तो दे आर रजिस्टर्ड अंडर सोसाइटीज एक्ट एंड वेरियस, है ना, कंपनीज एक्ट में रजिस्टर होता है. तो जनरली इंडिया में वानी है, दिस आर प्रोमिनेंट. वाही है, वानी है, स्फीयर इंडिया है. स्फीयर जो स्फीयर हैंडबुक विल डिस्कस इन द नेक्स्ट वीक. सो उसकी उसी लाइन पर स्फीयर इंडिया है. ये सारी चीज़ें हैं, कुआं है. सो दे आर अपॉर्चुनिटीज इज सेटिंग अप फंक्शनल एनजीओ कोऑर्डिनेशन प्लेटफॉर्म ड्यूरिंग न्यू, तो उनको पहले अपॉर्चुनिटीज है बिफोर द डिजास्टर स्ट्राइक्स. दे competent, make themselves competent. NGO institutional arrangements, common accessibility, disaster affected area, focus on most vulnerable people. So setting and committing to minimum standards by NGO. कितना exactly कितना देना है, लेकिन इन नॉर्मल टाइम्स हम लोगों को, नॉर्मल पीपल एक बार 1 to 35 लीटर्स ऑफ वाटर जनरली, है ना, ये स्टैंडर्ड है. लेकिन डिजास्टर के टाइम 135 लीटर्स ऑफ वाटर के नॉट प्रोवाइड इट टू ईच एंड एवरीबडी. उस टाइम पे 10 लीटर भी मिल गया तो भी बहुत होता है. तो कितना पानी देना, क्या देना, इसके लिए मिनिमम स्टैंडर्ड्स है. मिनिमम स्टैंडर्ड्स में डिफर इन नॉर्मल कंडीशंस एंड इनसे डिजास्टर कंडीशन. सो इसके लिए मिनिमम स्टैंडर्ड्स कितना होना चाहिए, दीज ऑल थिंग्स दे आर गिवन. चैलेंजेस क्या है, inadequate adherence to humanitarian standards and good practices. ये there is no proper technical working is there, because again नीड बेस्ड, लोगों को डिस्ट्रेस में देख के लोग जितना कंट्रोल करना चाहिए तो कर लेते हैं, बट व्हाट दे डू इज देयर इज समटाइम्स improper or not non-judicious allocation of resources, lack of clear exit strategy. यानी ठीक है, डिजास्टर खत्म होने के बाद वो चले जाते हैं, लेकिन exit strategy important. They should make some socially people should be made, you can say, competent enough to earn their livelihoods. Coordination नहीं है, brief times management, neglect remote areas in accessible disasters, जैसे tribal areas and all, these are generally neglected. सो एक्शन पॉइंट, जोग्राफिकल स्प्रेड ऑफ एनजीओज, वॉल्यूम सपोर्टेड, ये सारी चीज़ें हैं. तो जोग्राफिकल स्प्रेड बेस्ड ऑन द एक्शन प्लान ऑफ डीडीएम में, डिस्ट्रिक्ट डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट अथॉरिटी, तो कितना सपोर्ट वॉल्यूम करना है बेस्ड ऑन द स्टैटिस्टिक्स एंड ऑल, ये सारी चीज़ें हैं. यू कैन रीड योर सेल्फ. सिंपल थिंग्स आर देयर, लाइक वी हैव डिस्कस दिस ऑल्सो, जोन ऑफ कोलैबोरेशन एंड ऑल. कोर वैल्यूज, न्यूट्रलिटी शुड बी देयर, दिस शुड बी न्यूट्रल, है ना, जैसे वी हैव डिस्कस्ड. पॉलिटिकल रिलीजियस स्टैंड पॉइंट के तौर पे नहीं काम करना चाहिए उनको, है ना, बेस्ड ऑन नीड्स दे हैव टू वर्क. अकाउंटेबिलिटी, उनका अकाउंटेबिलिटी होना चाहिए, है ना, ऑडिट होना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं है कि जस्ट कोई भी कैसे भी यूज़ कर रहा है उसको, नहीं. पीपल में देयर इज वन मूवी, आई एम नॉट श्योर हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव सीन किक मूवी, देखे सबने? तो उसमें वो एनजीओ रहता है, याद है? ओके,
Yes.
फाइन फाइन फाइन. इम्पार्शियलिटी है, एड इज गिवन रिगार्डलेस ऑफ रेस, क्रीड, नेशनलिटी. एड इज बेस्ड ऑन नीड अलोन, इंडिपेंडेंस है ना. एड एजेंसी शैल नॉट एक्ट एज इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज. ये सारी चीज़ें हैं, है ना. सीबीओज, सीबीओ का क्या फुल फॉर्म है? वी हैड सीन दी इन द प्रीवियस प्रेजेंटेशन. सीबीओ मीन्स व्हाट? कम्युनिटी बेस्ड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. सो दे आर वेरियस टाइप ऑफ एनजीओ. तो जनरली इंडिया में कम्युनिटी बेस्ड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है. दे वर्क रिलीजियस बॉडी, लोकल रेजिडेंट्स, इंटरेस्ट ग्रुप्स, रोटरी क्लब. ओके, आर्म्ड फोर्सेज एंड ऑल, उनका भी रोल है. दे हैव टू coordinate with NGOs and all, they have to again integrate. So I'll just share the quiz quickly. Start. Only 7 questions are there, so 7 minutes, 7 to 8 minutes are sufficient. I'll just share the quiz. Then what you can do is you can mark the attendance.
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir. Not coming now.
So your voice is breaking.